kale. Mpulidde nnyabo. Ngiwulira.
We recognize in a special way the arrival of the band, the arrival of the waltz led by the military.
I need to know this.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're most welcome.
Our dear beloved chief guests, the chief walk of the day, you are most welcome.
I'll see what we can manage. Mana sina imaya ibaba kabisa.
I take the opportunity to welcome you back from our National Legal Aid Walk. Our beloved Chief Walker, the Honorable Lady Justice Irene Mulyagonja, the invited guests. I take the opportunity again to take you through today's program before I invite the police band to take us through the anthems. We started with the walk from High Court Criminal Division, and here we are. We shall have the national anthem, followed by the East African anthem, and the Law Development Center anthem, followed by an opening prayer, then a welcome address by the director of the Law Development Center, then introductory remarks on behalf of the partner organizations, led by Dr. Sylvia Namubiru Mukasa, the Executive Director, LASPNet. Then we shall have remarks by the Vice President of the Uganda Law Society. Then the address by the representative of the Honorable Attorney General. Then we shall have opening remarks by the Honorable Lady Justice Eva Luswata Kauma, the chairperson of the Law Development Center Legal Aid Clinic Advisory Board. And this will be followed by a keynote speech and the official launch of the Legal Aid Open Day by the Honorable Lady Justice Irene Mulyagonja, the chairperson of the Law Council, who is our beloved, esteemed Chief Walker today. And thereafter, we shall have the legal aid clinics commence operations to sensitize the general public and take through our invited clients who are participating in the legal aid service provision. At this note, I invite the manager of the legal aid clinic for a very brief, for the anthems, and then the police. May we stand up for the anthems, please? Let's have the Law Development Center anthem. Let's have our national opening prayer led by the Guild President, John Vian Ayebare.
Let's humble ourselves and we pray. Almighty, everlasting God, we thank you for this opportunity to gather us here as we celebrate 25 years of the Law Development Center Legal Aid Clinic. We thank you for the successful work, and we thank you and we pray that this day becomes successful, and indeed the entire week as we celebrate, such that the dispensation of justice can continue to glorify your name as we serve the people whom you desired that the legal service should benefit. In the mighty name of the Lord, we so pray. Thank you.
This juncture, I invite my co-MC, the manager of the Legal Aid Clinic, Ms. Lydia Namuli.
My Lord, the Chief Worker and Chief Guest, Lady Justice Irene Muliagonja, the Chairperson, Law Council. My Lord, the Chairperson of the Legal Aid Clinic Advisory Board, Lady Justice Eva Luswata Kauma. Allow me to introduce to you the people in our midst who have joined us in the work and who are going to form part of this congregation and for the rest of the day. In our midst, my Lord, we have the representative of the Director, Law Development Center, Mr. Hamis Dunglu Chamzi. In our midst, we have the Vice President of Uganda Law Society, His Worship James Eremie Mawanda Jumiri just joined us and is representing the Chief Registrar. My Lord, in our midst, we have the former President, Uganda Law Society, Senior Counsel, Fiona Nabasawol. My Lord, in our midst, we are also joined by the magistrates from the Law Development Center Court, led by His Worship Timothy Lumunye, as well as Conrad Opol. My Lord, in our midst, we have the Executive Director of LASPNet, Dr. Sylvia Namubiru Mukasa. My Lord, in our midst, we have the Chief Executive Officer of FIDA Uganda, Lilian Adriko Yarugaba. We have the in charge of the remand home, Mary Chwamugisha, that is Naguru Remand Home. My Lord, in our midst, we've been joined by the coordinator of PILAC, who led a very big delegation of students, that is Dr. Patricia Tim. My Lord, in our midst, we also have Dr. Barbara Kitui, who is the advisor, Family Justice. My Lord, still in our midst, we have a big group from the Legal Aid Clinic comprised of the Senior Legal Officer, Miss Rose Kawesa. We have the rest of the LAC staff, please stand up for recognition. They are part of this congregation. We have reconciliators and mediators. We have legal volunteers. We have legal officers. We have social workers. My Lord, we have also been joined by the representative of the head bar course, Miss Susan Wakabala. My Lord, we are also joined by the administrative staff, many of who are supporting us to organize this occasion, including the senior internal auditor, Betty Logose. My Lord, there is somebody who deliberately took a back seat. I don't know why. Mr. Eric Hatanga, the chairperson of the organizing committee of LAC at 25, but also the ULS representative of the US representative on the Legal Aid Clinic Advisory Board. My Lord, those are the people in our midst. My Lord, I forgot to introduce the guild. We have the Students Guild Law Development Center, led by the guild president who led us in prayer, and a big section of the CLE students at the Law Development Center. Please stand up for recognition. Thank you for joining us in the walk. My Lord, without any further ado, I will invite the representative of the Director, Law Development Center, to give the welcome remarks.
Thank you, Master of Ceremonies. My Lord, the Chief Worker, Honorable Lady Justice Irene Mliagonja. My Lord, the Chairperson, Clinic Legal Advisory Board, Honorable Lady Justice Kauma. Sorry for that, my Lord. Distinguished guests, protocol observed. My Lord, allow me to first deliver the apologies of the Director, Law Development Center, who is unable to be with us today. And allow me to read out her welcome remarks for today's Legal Aid Clinic Open Day to commemorate the Legal Aid Clinic of the Law Development Center at 25 years. First, allow me to thank everyone who took part in the Legal Aid walk this morning. My Lord, on behalf of LDC, we appreciate the time you have given us amidst your busy schedule to be the chief worker for this event. You have arrived with energy and purpose, and we are delighted to welcome you from the walk to the Law Development Center for our first Legal Aid Open Day held in commemoration of LAC at 25. A special word of appreciation to LastNet, Dr. Sylvia Mukasa. You're appreciated by the Law Development Center, and to all legal aid service providers and justice institutions represented here today. Your continued partnership make access to justice practical, not just rhetoric. Today's Open Day is more than an event. It is a beginning of a structured culture of institutional corporate responsibility at LDC, and therefore an annual commitment to open our doors, serve the public, and showcase the power of learning through service. I wish to thank the students of PILAC, School of Law, Makerere University. Kindly, we appreciate the time you have given us for this event. For joining the walk, your presence is forward-looking and signals the next generation's commitment to people-centered lawyering. To all LDC students, the Student Guild is with us here, the Guild President and the Executive. I encourage you to deepen a culture of social justice, the principle that underpins the work of our Legal Aid Clinic, Skills, ethics, and service must travel together. To our fellow legal aid service providers, I urge a continuing culture of cooperation, sharing referrals, data, and effort so that the common person receives timely, quality assistance wherever they first seek help, whether it is at LDC Legal Aid Clinic or elsewhere. Most importantly, we take special recognition of our clients, the users of LAC services. Do we have some of our clients here? Manager LAC? You are the reason we are here. We honor you, we honor your courage in seeking help, and we commit to treating each matter with dignity, confidentiality, and urgency. Please enjoy the services and learning stations set up across the campus, legal information desks, on-the-spot counseling and referrals, alternative dispute resolution demonstrations, and student-led engagements. My Lord, our Chief Worker, we do have legal aid clinics in many of the regions in Uganda. We are working very hard to open up more clinics so that we entrench the legal aid services to most of the parts of Uganda. Engage, ask questions, and make use of every opportunity. On behalf of the Law Development Center, I wish you a fruitful Legal Aid Day. Thank you for being here, for working with us, and for keeping justice within reach. You are most welcome to LDC. For God and my country.
Thank you so much. The representative of the Director, Law Development Center. My Lord, the chief guest, as you've heard, the Legal Aid Clinic has never worked alone. We've always worked with partners. It is our strength. It is our pride. It could never be possible if we didn't have the partnership that we have across the justice institutions and others. The 8 legal aid clinics that the representative of the Director has mentioned are housed by one or another institution of government. And these include Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, Ministry of Local Government, the Judiciary, and many other well-wishers. My Lord, we have also been joined by the Chief Executive Officer of Uganda Christian Lawyers Fraternity, Mr. Sabit Martin. Please stand up for recognition. Thank you for joining us. My Lord, that all speaks to our strength as legal aid service providers. We never move alone. We move together under our umbrella of the Legal Aid Service Providers Network. And maybe, my Lord, this is also for information. LASPNet started its home here at the Legal Aid Clinic. The Legal Aid Clinic gave LASPNet their first home because we felt we needed an institution that could coordinate us. They have since done it well. Through the fraternity, we've been able to achieve so much. My Lord, next to address the congregation here is Dr. Sylvia Namubiru Mukasa, the Executive Director of the Legal Aid Service Providers Network, who will be representing the rest of the legal aid service providers.
Thank you, Manager, Director of Programs. The Honorable Lord Justice Irene Mliagonja, our Chief Worker. Allow me stand on the protocol as already outlined and all the distinguished participants. On behalf of the Legal Aid Service Providers Network, we warmly welcome you, everyone, in your respective capacities to the inaugural activity marking the celebration of 25 years of the Lord Development Center Legal Aid Clinic. I'm honored to be part of this journey as a network, but also to speak today on behalf of all the legal aid service providers. And I want to kindly request all the legal aid service providers around, represented by the different CEOs, to stand up for recognition. You are most welcome. Thank you so much. Everyone here who is a legal aid service provider, please stand up for recognition. Thank you so much for walking the journey with the LDC Legal Aid Clinic. Would like to congratulate LDC, especially the Legal Aid Clinic, for celebrating 25 years of providing legal aid, promoting access to justice through legal aid and clinic education. It is no mean achievement, walking a 25-year journey, and we are glad that we are here. The Legal Aid Clinic of the Lord Development Center has been at the forefront of providing legal aid to the most vulnerable, especially children. Madame Maria is here, and we testify that every day the doors open for the lawyers, for the student lawyers to come and provide legal aid. The Legal Aid Clinic has been at the forefront of pushing for diversion. The Legal Aid Clinic has also led the fit person concept and ensuring that as many fit persons have been trained. Not only that, it has been instrumental in training lawyers in social justice and becoming legal aid service providers, lawyers that provide legal aid. And mainly, when you see all the lawyers that are in the field of legal aid, even those that are in government or in private practice, they've passed through this clinic under apprenticeship. And we don't take that for granted. And we would like to thank you so much for creating a space and enabling the lawyers to have those lenses of providing justice to the most vulnerable. As the manager has already mentioned, the Legal Aid Clinic of the Lord Development Center, in the case of Legal Aid Service Providers Network, is very significant because it's one of the founding organizations, in addition to FIDA Uganda, in addition to Foundation for Human Rights Initiative. Those organizations came together in 2024, in 2004, yes. In 2004, and they agreed to make a coalition, which coalition later transitioned in 2008 into the Legal Aid Service Providers. So the inception, as she has already mentioned, was up there. If you remember that building that has since been demolished, that's where the clinic office began before the office moved to Kamocha and now to Mengo. So on this day, we recognize the founders of the clinic, the directors that were then there, Miss Theo Webale, because then she was the manager, and we want to clap for her. We do appreciate what Legal Aid Clinic of the Lord Development Center has been and is to the provision of access to justice, making it possible for the vulnerable to access justice, not only here in Kampala, but Legal Aid Clinic is in different places. They are in Masindi, and they are doing so well. We get good reports concerning the work they do. And once in Kagadi, in Fort Potro, among others, in Jinja, and currently actually part of the UNODC program of preventing crime and strengthening criminal justice in Uganda. It is very impactful and tangible because as we look around us, as I've already said, many of the LASPs have gone through the Lord Development Center, but specifically under apprenticeship of the clinic. And we need to clap for that. As we celebrate this milestone, we also need to look at the future of legal aid. It is very important that we embrace legal aid as one of the drivers of socio-economic development, promotion of cohesion within the society, and a cornerstone of the Sustainable Goal 16, which speaks to inclusiveness. Then also we need to know that to ensure sustainability, we have to make sure that such institutions that the LDC and the Legal Aid Clinic remain relevant and supported to deliver their mandate and services. That's why it is very important that we need to think forward and make legal aid relevant and sustainable, and not as a by the way, because access to justice is a right. On Friday, we'll be speaking more about legal aid under the National Development Plan, so I don't want to preempt what we need to propose. But this moment, I want you to really feel LODC at 25, and let us enjoy and celebrate this milestone. And we want to thank everyone, the chairperson, the manager, the director, and everyone that has made this day a success and has brought forward what we are celebrating today. For God and my country, I thank you.
Thank you so much, CEO Laspnet. Again, my Lord, those are our footprints as laid out by Dr. Sylvia. That is our journey that we are celebrating 25 years down the road. Thank you so much, Dr. Sylvia, for recognizing the efforts of the legal aid lawyer. Many times they are not appreciated, but the legal aid lawyers do a lot. My Lord, next to give remarks is the Vice President of ULS. This is also great support to us, not only on such occasions, but even as we walk our journey of legal aid, including in the conduct of clinical legal education. He has been teaching on the clinical legal education program. We are glad to have him in our midst. Mr. Anthony Asimwe, please come and give your remarks.
Thank you, Lydia. My Lord, the Chief Worker, allow me stand on the protocol as has been laid. I bring all of you greetings from the Uganda Law Society Governing Council, the Secretariat, and the entire membership. A good morning to you all. It gives me pleasure to stand before you here today as we commemorate a truly remarkable milestone. That's the 25 years of dedicated service by the Legal Aid Clinic of the Law Development Center. On behalf of myself, who is here, the ULS Governing Council, we do extend our heartfelt congratulations to the entire LDC fraternity for this achievement. Reaching 25 years of continuous service in providing legal aid assistance to the indigent, vulnerable, and marginalized, moreover, largely relying on students, is no small feat. It speaks to your resilience, your commitment to promoting justice, and your strong belief that access to justice, is not for only the privileged. You heard Lydia say that I do teach here. One of my first questions I ask when I enter class, and most of you students who are here, you'll bear witness, I ask you, why did you choose to do law? Why did you choose this profession? And the majority of them, 80%, they chose this profession because they want to make money. And legal aid services, you're not making money. And the fact that as domestic issues or minor criminal cases must fend for themselves or rely on the overstretched non-governmental legal aid organizations like the Legal Aid Clinic of the LDC here and other members of LASPNet. Unfortunately, as you're aware, most of these, including like ourselves, they have to look for the funds to manage, to offer this service. This reality leaves many legal aid service providers at the mercy of the donors. And in recent years, with the exit of DGF, think about 2023, donor funding has become increasingly unreliable and inconsistent. There is what we call donor fatigue. most of them are not sure that they'll be allowed to operate here. Many organizations have been forced to scale down operations. I think Dr. can testify to this. While others have had to close offices completely. The trend is unsustainable, and it puts this constitutional right to a fair hearing at serious risk. That is why we commend Legal Aid Clinic of the LDC for standing firm and finding ways of pushing on even amidst all these struggles. And that makes me want to use this opportunity to make an urgent call for the National Legal Aid Bill. And I believe it is imperative that government needs to fast track the enactment of the National Legal Aid Bill, whose process began sometime in 2016, but has since stalled. Every time it comes up in Parliament, there's an issue. And I believe now the major challenge is that there's a requirement for a certificate of financial implication. As legal aid service providers, we are certain that this legislation is a game changer for Uganda's justice sector. It will institutionalize and enable better coordination, legal aid services, and ensure equitable distribution of legal support across the country, and establish a sustainable framework for legal aid service providers across the country. This would therefore ensure and operationalize the constitutional promise under Article 28, the one of a right to a fair hearing, and specifically Article 44C, which guarantees that a right to a fair hearing is a non-derogable right, because then there every person would have legal representation, even those who cannot afford, even those who do not have the means. Some of you who have had an opportunity to probably read further, if you look at the Hill report, the last report, Justice Needs and Satisfaction Survey, it reports that about 80% of Ugandans face a legal problem every 4 years, yet only about 10% can afford the services of a lawyer. I think that explains why I think the other year's judiciary performance report also spoke to only 10% Ugandans being able to access justice through courts. I believe the major reason is because the majority of Ugandans cannot afford services of a lawyer. They don't even know that these services are available. The majority of these, I think 75%, resolve their disputes outside formal court systems through informal community-based mechanisms. However, these people still require legal advice. Even when they're using the informal mechanisms, they still need legal services, legal advice, mediation, and guidance to have their disputes resolved. This therefore speaks to the vital importance of institutionalizing legal aid beyond criminal justice to reach ordinary citizens in all sectors and everywhere. I know we're supposed to have the Attorney General here. According to the program, I don't see him. But I still appeal to the Attorney General and the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs to prioritize the National Legal Aid Bill to enable its tabling and passage in Parliament. This is not something very new. We've had countries and other jurisdictions like Kenya, South Africa, Tanzania, Sierra Leone, England, Wales, Scotland, Ireland, Finland, and many others. They've developed similar legislations, and they are now very far in the area of access to justice. There's also a need to review the Advocates Act. And while we advocate for the Legal Aid Bill, we must also confront another long-standing issue with the Advocates Act. This law was enacted in 1956, and it remains largely colonial and outdated. Despite the significant evolution of the legal profession over the years and the past decades, we still rely on that act. It does not help much. Uganda now boasts of over 7,000 members, that's enrolled advocates currently. And this is a vast increase from the handful of practitioners at Independence Day in 1962, or even in 1956 when this law was enacted. Yet the regulatory framework remains rigid, unresponsive, and misaligned with the realities of modern legal practice, technology, and public interest lawyering. The revised Advocates Act would allow for innovations such as paralegal recognition, alternative billing structures, mandatory pro bono contributions, and progressive disciplinary mechanisms. Most importantly, it would align Uganda's legal practice framework with regional and international standards, ensuring that legal services are accessible, affordable, and accountable. I therefore once again urge the Honorable Attorney General and the Law Council to expedite the review and amendment of the Advocates Act. However, this should be done in consultation with the Uganda Law Society and its membership. This reform, coupled with the enactment of the Legal Aid Bill, would transform the landscape of justice delivery in Uganda. And in conclusion, as we celebrate the 25 years of the LDC Legal Aid Clinic, let us reaffirm our collective commitment to access to justice for all. Let us continue to stand in the gap for the vulnerable. Your journey at LDC inspires us all, and I believe many out there who are not here. And on behalf of the Uganda Law Society, I once again congratulate you on this milestone. May you continue to serve with passion, integrity, and excellence. Together, let us keep the flame of justice burning for the next 25 years and beyond. And I conclude, I call upon the students to pick this up and continue. It satisfies in so many other ways. You may not get the money you want to get, but what you achieve in the long run is even greater than the money you'd have achieved. I thank you all and I wish you the best of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Anthony Asimwe. My Lord, I think from his remarks, it is no doubt that the Legal Aid Clinic is overwhelmed. Since the closure of the Democratic Governance Facility, we have seen our numbers triple, and people have questioned time and again why the sudden rise of the number of people served by the Legal Aid Clinic. And I think that is an explanation that we cannot put to evidence, but it is real. People are struggling, but also that means a strain on our advocates who have now to serve more with very little. Thank you so much, Mr. Vice President. I now take the honor to invite the representative of the Chief Registrar, who is also the PRO of the judiciary. Maybe, my Lord, to note is that the judiciary has really opened up extensive doors for us through the Office of the Chief Registrar. Our court-annexed mediators and reconciliators, all the 17 are housed by the courts. So we appreciate the space they have allocated us. Our Heart Reach program thrives on the space given to us by the judiciary. Across the 20 districts where we go, we are housed by the judiciary, who graciously supervise our students. And most importantly, we appreciate the gesture of the judiciary to open up a learning court at the Law Development Center, which is now about 15 years of age. We really appreciate that. We further made a call to them to post an officer at the level of a chief magistrate that we achieved. So we are really very grateful to the judiciary. Your Worship, you're welcome. And thereafter, you will do me the honor of inviting the chairperson of the Legal Aid Clinic Advisory Board to give her remarks.
My Lord, the Chief Worker, also allow me ride on the protocol that has been already laid. First, my Lord, I want to pass my apologies. I did not join you at the land division so that I can majestically walk with you to this venue. I sent my apologies to the manager, Luck. On Monday, as I was working out, I developed a slight problem with my legs. The doctors call it a muscle dilation. I don't know what that means. So I have a bit of difficulty moving. I also want to bring apologies from the chief registrar because of overriding activities that are going on in the institution. She has asked me to come and represent her and deliver her remarks. And yet on another sad note, as we are here celebrating 25 years, we learn of the death of one of our beloved sisters, a student at Uganda Christian University taking law. It's so sad, the moment, daughter of Honorable Betty Bakireke Namboze. She passed on, arising from, these border issues. So I request we observe a moment of silence. And may her soul rest in eternal peace. As we are looking forward to developing a generation of responsible people, we feel so sad when any one of us passes on and in such circumstances. My Lord, allow me, before I read the remarks of the acting chief registrar, to bring good news, to this gathering of legal aid service providers, lawyers, advocates, students, and everybody. My Lord, in our village, we have this saying, when a lady gives birth to twins, it is good cause to celebrate. It is even a good reason for such a lady to commit crime, because necessity comes into play. My Lord, yes, because now there is a reason why such a lady should be excused for some of the things she has done, even if they conflict with the law. When you have twins, you can go to the neighbor's garden and pick a few bunches of matoke. For one reason, because you must feed the children. These are very important children. But I wanted to tell the gathering that last week, and I want to thank the people who joined us when we were launching, my Lord, the performance enhancement tool. This year, as we continue ensuring that we improve accountability and access to justice, in a quest to ensuring that this accountability is real, the judiciary, my Lord, as you are aware, came up with the PET, the tool that is going to allow a 360 degrees assessment and evaluation of judicial performance. And we have a team of members here who are going to be very important participants. Some of them might not have known that we have this baby. Ladies and gentlemen, at the judiciary, we have now a web-based tool that you and I are going to participate in evaluating performance of judicial officers and non-judicial officers. Previously, we have been using the traditional public service appraisal system, which is basically between the appraisee and the appraiser. Little did we factor in the peculiarities of the nature of work we do as judicial officers for us to be effectively able to assess performance. Now, we have a custom-made tool that will effectively and appropriately give us performance. It has been done to incorporate a 300-degree approach where the appraiser, myself, will be appraised by my peers. At the same time, my subordinates. At the same time, my supervisor. But what about other justice actors? We have included the advocates, because you work with us, right? You know too much about us, isn't it? You know how well we execute the mandate that has been entrusted upon us. So advocates who are here, and I'm very sure my brother Asimwe should be happier, because this time he has a reason to say this Eremie here is a good performer. Am I right? Definitely. You know, he's a good performer, and a lot of other information. Okay? Then, of course, the public. The public has also been brought on board. And we are not shy, neither are we worried, because we know in the quest for judicial accountability, we are all ready and set to do the right thing. You may be wondering, why now? Yes, the transformation agenda. The judiciary is evolving every day positively to ensure justice for all. So, ladies and gentlemen, we want to invite you and encourage you, please effectively participate in this bet. The other question is, how do we, if it's a web-based application, how do we get on board? Don't worry. We have also developed survey tools that will be put at every court, and there will be a dedicated secretariat to manage and run the PET. So that's the good news that I thought, as a registrar in charge of communications and public relations, my lord, I should first pass and share. Of course, we have done so many other things, but allow me go to the speech of the chief registrar. Those were my words. Now I go to the speech of the chief registrar, which I will read verbatim. At the Legal Aid Walk and Open Day at Law Development Center. I've already alluded the protocol. It says, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It gives me great pleasure to join you all for this Legal Aid Walk and Open Day, an event that brings together all of us who share a deep commitment to justice, equality, and service to the people of Uganda. This event is themed 25 years of advancing access to justice through legal aid and clinical education. Therefore, today's gathering is much more than a walk. It's a walk of purpose and solidarity. It symbolizes our shared journey towards a justice system that is accessible, fair, and responsive to the needs of every citizen, especially the poor, the vulnerable, and the marginalized, who often stand at the periphery of justice. As the judiciary, we deeply appreciate the work of our partners in the legal aid sector, civil society organizations, and the Uganda Law Society, development partners, and the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, whose efforts extend the reach of justice far beyond the courtroom walls. Your collaboration ensures that justice is not a privilege for the few, but a right enjoyed by all. This Open Day offers us an important opportunity to engage with the public, to demystify court processes, and to promote awareness of legal rights and services. Justice must not only be done, but it must also be seen and felt by the people we serve. As we walk and interact today, let us reflect on how each of us, whether judge, registrar, advocate, or paralegal, can make justice more accessible, efficient, and humane. The judiciary remains committed to implementing reforms that enhance access to justice, including the rollout of small claims procedure, alternative dispute resolution mechanisms, mediation, the use of technology in case management, and ongoing discussions around a comprehensive national legal aid law. I thank the organizers for bringing us together for such a noble cause. I particularly wish to acknowledge the visionary founders and the dedicated staff and volunteers, both past and present, whose tireless efforts have brought us to this day. May this event renew our collective energy and remind us that true justice walks with the people. It listens, it serves, and it uplifts. I wish you all a successful and an engaging open day ahead. Thank you, and may God bless you all. Signed, Pamela Lamono Ochaya, Acting Chief Registrar. With those remarks, it's my singular honor to invite the Chairperson, Advisory Board, to address us. My Lord, you are welcome.
Yes, thank you very much, Your Worship. And good morning, everyone. Good morning, my Lord. My Lord Justice Irene Mulyagonja Kakoza, who sits at the Court of Appeal, and allow me to stand on the protocol that has already been presented. A special welcome to you all to this momentous occasion. Of course, it's not only today, it is running for a week, as you'll get to know or already know the activities. My name is Eva Luswata Kauma. I've been introduced. I also sit at the Court of Appeal and chair the advisory board. And apart from that, myself, I practiced law for 20 years plus before I came to cross over to the judiciary, but I'll talk about that more a little bit later. A special thank you to our partners here today. We have partners from government, we have partners from other public institutions, and of course, civil society and the Fourth Estate. And as you have been told, the clinic especially has been supported by government and other players. And we appreciate that very much. My Lord, I'm only going to make a few remarks to thank you once again for taking off the time. Apart from your other duties, you also chair the Law Council, which, so some of you students, look at her very carefully. She's a very important person. She's the gateway to whether you'll practice law or not. But she's a good person if your papers are clean. So we know you are very busy. But thank you very much for coming. Today is a momentous day, marking this very, very important part of LDC, that is doing legal aid for the indigent. I know, like I've told you, I practiced law for a long time, and I know that many of the people here have a very long history in legal aid. And as the Vice President has told you, making a choice to do legal aid as a lawyer is not easy. But personally, I think every lawyer worth their salt, if you have not done legal aid in your life, you should never be mentioned. So for me, apart from heading this board, I really have a passion in what is being done here. The board has been purposefully selected. We have representation, of course, from LDC management and the teaching faculty. We have representation from the Ministry of Justice. The universities is still Makerere University only. I think that ought to change. I know the other universities always have a quorum. You only remember MUK. No, every university that offers law is important. And of course, we have a representation from civil society. We've already met them. I have worked with the board for maybe 3 years plus. Of course, we work very closely together, and we are supposed to give policy direction. But these, I have noted that these are very, my Lord, these are very dedicated people who are very innovative, who you will later come to know on Friday what exactly we do. But I can just point to one, maybe a lot of work with children in conflict with the law. And that is an area I know no other legal aid service provider is doing it, purposefully at least. They do it purposefully. And as we work and as we've traveled around the country, we have confirmed that children sometimes are forgotten and they need advocates who do specifically legal aid with children. And that is something they have done so well. They have made a mark and will continue doing so. So we are hoping that after this walk, of course, we've walked up and down Kampala. They've seen our nice T-shirts, but that is not all. We are hoping to have people to come here during the course of today to have their problems addressed. And for you students, now that I have an opportunity that you are all, many of you are here, interest yourself in legal aid. You look at me, you look at Irene, you look at many people here. We are now sitting at the Court of Appeal. We had a very strong foundation in legal aid practice, and we are not ashamed of it. In fact, I believe for many of us, it got us to where we are. Because you get to see the people who are in need the most. You get to be visible to the judicial officers. Because when I was as young as you, I used to do public defense, progressively from the magistrates court up to the Supreme Court. And they noticed me. And sometimes they would call me to their chambers to thank me. That is important. When I came to create my CV, I put everything there. I threw it in. And I'm sure it gave me a leverage over the commercial lawyer. So do not think that these things are not going to get you somewhere. Apart from the satisfaction of having helped somebody without pay, without any kind of compensation. That smile. Somebody who has come to your office with somebody who is on tension and they walk out with their shoulders down. That is something. And apart from that, we started a law firm as young lawyers, me and Irene, and we depended a lot on those pro bono clients. Eventually, they find the money or they give you references. Okay? I would go to Mubende, and people walk to me when they've watched me doing pro bono. And they would say, I want you to represent me. I said, oh, but I came on behalf of Uganda Law Society. I came on behalf of FIDA. He said, are you serious? You mean you're not being paid? Yes. I said, well, me, I want to pay you. And somehow we built a portfolio of clients from some of our legal aid work. Of course, lawyers have to make money, but this we have to give the social service. So I want to thank you all who have been involved in the clinic work. We have our foot soldiers. We cannot forget them. Some are in hard to reach places. I have visited them and I'm amazed. And they have a smile on their face. And they are working in really hard conditions. The offices are deplorable. I've worked with lawyers with their fine suits. I know if they came to such an office, they will wonder whether these people, but when you then go to the magistrates and the judicial officers and they give you the good stories of what these people are doing and how much they are relying on them and begging us, please make sure this clinic is not closed, because if it's closed, we are finished. It just gives you satisfaction. So at any one time in your lives, take time to do this. So we are hoping that this work will culminate in some good work here for today. And please sharpen your skills, sharpen your skills by doing pro bono, because you're going to do greater work. So with those few remarks, my Lord, I have the singular honor to welcome you to come and to address this meeting. Thank you very much. Thank you, Eva. I'll call her Eva. At our court, we say we shouldn't call each other my lord. We should call each other judge or by our first name. And we are trying to inculcate that in all the judges that come into the court. I am pleased to be here this morning. But first of all, good morning. I will start by, you may sit, by praising the name of the Lord. Praising the name of the Lord. When we were marching, the band was playing Ebeneza, atuje wala, Ebeneza, atutute wala, Ebeneza, atuje wala, Ebeneza, atutute wala, atutute wala, atutute wala. And I was singing it with purpose and joy and pride, because Legal Aid and I have a long history going back. As lawyers coming out of LDC, we cut our teeth on Legal Aid. We cut our teeth on Legal Aid. Our first practice interacting with clients was through Legal Aid. I, in particular, will tell you that I have history with FIDA. I know when the first Legal Aid clinic began. Lillian is my mentee. And I am very happy to see that she's now at the helm of FIDA Legal Aid Clinic. The FIDA Legal Aid Clinic, I have a speech, but I want to speak about my experience with legal aid. I want to give a testimony. You know, there's no testimony if there's been no test. So if you had a test in life, then you have a testimony. So the first legal aid clinic opened in one room. It opened in one room, and it was not because the Uganda Association of Women Lawyers had money. It was because one Catholic priest saw hope in the work that we were doing for the indigent. He gifted FIDA with some money to open a clinic. It was one room. It was in, I don't know what that building is called. It is now the NSSF. You know that building of NSSF on Ginger Road? Udiam House. That was the first clinic. It was one room, and I remember at some point it would leak. It had one desk and about 2 or 3 chairs. And that's where we saw our first clients. Mentorship of my sister Rebecca Kadaga, the likes of Hope Mwesije, a dear departed friend, Yeri Wakabi. She passed on quite early. But all those ladies, that is Jennifer Muguma, I don't know whether, those are very much older lawyers that you do not know, that birthed this idea of the FIDA Legal Aid Clinic. Of course, we'd been seeing clients unofficially and helping them, you know, giving advice, going into the villages for legal education, as far as going to, you know, I'm a Musoga, but I had never been to Chidera. You know where Chidera is? Do you know Chidera? Who knows Chidera? Chidera is near the lake, somewhere in deep in Busoga, Bujagali. There, we, you know, not Bujagali, but Namasagali. I had never been to those places. I got there because of legal aid and legal education, going to the markets to educate the market women about their rights and the law and so on. So, FIDA Legal Aid Clinic was followed by the Uganda Law Society Legal Aid Clinic. Surprise, surprise? Are you surprised? You are not surprised, because the most indigent people in this nation are women and children. So the Uganda Law Society followed us when we opened a legal aid clinic. They also deemed it fit to open one. I think I had just left being a member of the Uganda Law Society Executive Council. I've been many things. FIDA, I was on the Executive Council. Uganda Law Society, at some point I was on the Executive Council. LASPNet, that one was birthed by a concept that was prepared by me and my dear friend Irene Ovonji Odida, with the help of some development partners. We birthed the concept of LASPNet, which these days some people call it LAPSNet. It's LASPNet. Then, of course, many others followed after us. But this is my speech. I will stand on the protocol that was laid by by my sister Namubiru. I'm not going to go into it. I will now go into the formal speech. But I'm very proud to be here today. And I really thank, and I want to advise you, lawyers like my sister, Eva has advised you. Eva and I go a long way. We started the farm together. We worked together. We educated our children. Some people would like to add, at some point, some people say, we worked together, we ate together, we stole together. But we didn't steal. Have no faith. We have faith, we didn't steal. So today we mark a first, the Legal Aid Open Day of the Law Development Center's Legal Aid Clinic, held to commemorate 25 years of service and learning. As chairperson of the Law Council, which regulates legal education and legal aid providers, I'm honored to officiate and to celebrate a model that has placed justice within reach while preparing a practice-ready bar for Uganda. So why does this day matter? Open days are not mere ceremonies. They are a public promise. They tell every citizen, especially the less privileged, the vulnerable, and the unrepresented, that law has a door and it is open. And they tell every student that the profession they are entering is about service as much as it is about skill. Now, service. You all know where the profession started from, I believe. Do you know? You were not told how the legal profession started? You were not told. The legal profession started by people offering free services to represent people in the courts. And they went to the courts to speak for people. Sometimes they were paid, sometimes they were not. Fees were not really a requirement. That came on later on when commerce now came in to influence the profession. You have seen the gowns of lawyers. What is behind? You see something behind on the gown of the lawyer? There's a little pouch. Now that pouch, if someone was really happy and pleased and able to pay, they would put a few coins in that pouch. Otherwise, the profession is referred to as a noble profession. It is a calling, it is a service where you are called upon to serve, not to amass wealth. And I will tell you, any lawyer who goes into this profession thinking they are going to amass wealth eventually end up in trouble. If you think you are coming to the profession to amass wealth, you will end up like some people who have died in prison. You've heard of lawyers who die in prison? You have? There was one who died in prison. And why was he in prison? Because he stole a client's money. Not so. So don't think this profession is here to help you to amass wealth. It's good to live well, but do not live well at the expense of the people you serve. The first thing that you should do is serve. And when you serve, and I saw from my predecessors who were senior lawyers in the profession and who encouraged us. There was one particular one I talked to outside the courtroom. And I said, but Dr. Byamgisha, how do people get to live in Kololo? And he said, you will get there. The way you are doing your practice, I can see that you will get there. Because of the ethics that we were displaying as legal professionals, we got the trust of the people, and we got the jobs, and we were able to eventually, from this legal aid we were doing, helping women and children, because our farm was a great one for helping women and children, we eventually got those big clients, and we were able to make some money. So service is very important. A quarter-century growth. When the clinic opened in 1998 and commenced operations in 1999, it began as a single office. It now stands as a national asset. Regional presence in Mbarara, Lila, and Mbale. The satellite operations in Kabarole, Masindi, Jumani, and Jinja. Conducting court-annexed reconciliation and mediation, with a learning court at LDC that converts theory into supervised practice. This is the story of consistent growth, careful integration into LDC systems, and steady professionalization. The training that changes outcomes. The Law Council's regulatory lens focuses on quality ethics and accountability. In that light, the clinic legal education and student practice program, CLE, anchored in the advocate's student practice regulations, has shown what works. Students draft, advise, and appear to represent clients under supervision. Clients receive timely, affordable assistance, and the justice chain benefits from reduced delay, and better prepared young advocates. The learning court is a particularly important innovation. It structures learning with competency checklists, supervision ratios, file reviews, and reflection, all central to the standards the Law Council promotes. There's been a broadening of the docket. There's criminal and civil justice. While criminal defense remains vital, it is important to note that the clinic now robustly supports civil justice. They take on cases in land, family, and labor matters, as well as contract and tort disputes. This shift mirrors real community need and reflects a profession that must be versatile, people-centered, and problem-solving. Now, ADR. We cannot leave this podium without talking about ADR. ADR is transforming the system of justice in Uganda. We used to think ADR cannot be done in appellate courts. We are moving cases in the Court of Appeal. We have ADR. We have cases that are resolved at the level of appeal using ADR. The clinic's leadership in alternative dispute resolution through court-annexed reconciliation and mediation and appropriate support to plea bargaining aligns with the judiciary's direction and with the Law Council's emphasis on proportionate, humane, and cost-effective justice. ADR reduces adjournments, preserves relationships, and frees court time for matters that truly require adjudication. We have adjudicated big cases, billions of shillings and dollars at the Court of Appeal using ADR. They resolve in 1-2 days, 1-2 meetings. A case that has been in the High Court for years comes to the Court of Appeal within a week of ADR, within a week of mediation or negotiation. It is resolved. So we sing the wonders of ADR, and they've called it alternative dispute resolution. My Chief Justice wants to call it African dispute resolution, or the original dispute resolution. It is the resolution of disputes that is practiced in our communities. We should go back and see how people in the villages or even in the communities resolve disputes. It is said that, Mr. Eremi, how many disputes come to our courts in Uganda? 5%? Yeah. We resolve only 5%. Where do the rest go? They go to ODR. So ODR is very important, and you should foster it here at the Law Development Center as you practice. Now, none of this is possible without partnerships. You partner with the judiciary, the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, police force, prisons, local governments, the Law Society, members of LASPNet, and other development partners. Partnership is the accelerator of growth, service delivery, and learning. It's also the foundation for consistency, because access to justice must not depend on a single project or budget year. What do we expect from this project? It's no longer a project. It has become an institution, really. It's not just a project. What do we expect as the Law Council? As a regulator, the Law Council's task is not only to license and credit, but to enable. We therefore emphasize these 4 things. First, minimum standards and accreditation. Clinics and legal aid service providers must maintain clear eligibility, conflict checks, confidentiality, and appropriate supervision ratios. Secondly, quality assurance. Caseload limits, file reviews and complaints mechanisms protect both clients and students. We also would like to see the third one, which is inclusion and safeguards. Language access, disability accommodation, and child-friendly procedures are not negotiable. Finally, ethics at the center. Competence without character is a danger. Character with competence is not enough. We must insist on both. Now, these are some of the challenges we must face together. We know the pressures, high demand, resource constraints, supervision capacity, technology gaps, and the cost of reaching rural and peri-urban communities. Naming these challenges is not defeat. It is the first step in solving them with standards, systems, and partnerships. 3 practical commitments from the regulator. The first is that we should have predictable inspections and support. The Law Council will work with providers to ensure timely accreditation reviews and clear feedback loops that improve rather than interrupt service. Secondly, standards for student practice and ADR. We will continue to refine guidance notes on supervision, competencies, and ADR integration and promote their adoption across publicly supported clinics. I have a charge for our students at the bar. To our students, your learning today shapes the bar tomorrow. Practice diligence, empathy, and integrity. Treat each file as a life, not a number. Join the clinic's mentorship and pro bono panels. 1 case per quarter per council would transform the pipeline of help and the habits of our profession. To the public, if you are here seeking help, know this. You are seen, you are heard, and you have a place in this system. The clinic exists for you. Ask questions, take advice, keep copies, return for follow-up. Justice works best when you are informed and engaged. I'd like to appreciate the Director LDC, the clinic leadership and staff. Thank you for proving that quality and affordability can go together. To the judiciary and our state and non-state partners, thank you for opening doors and sustaining innovation. To the development partners, thank you for trusting local institutions and investing in systems, not just events. At 25 years, the Legal Aid Clinic is far more than an institution. Like I said, it is a living standard that lawyers learn by service, and that justice must be timely, humane, and within reach. May this first Legal Aid Open Day become an annual tradition, drawing the public closer to the law and drawing the profession deeper into its duty as a noble profession to serve communities and to give back. Because when you earn from a community, you must give back. Therefore, on behalf of the Law Council, I congratulate the LDC and the Legal Aid Clinic on this milestone, and I affirm our partnership in the years ahead. I now have the untold pleasure of declaring the Legal Aid Open Day officially open. I thank you for listening to me, for God and my country.
Thank you so much, my Lord, for opening us up. Fellow legal aid service providers, I think let us take on the mantle. It is the time. But before we depart, before we start the open day, I will invite the guild president to give a vote of thanks to our guest of honor and everyone else who has joined us in this.
Thank you very much, the manager, Legal Aid Clinic. My name is John Vianney Ayobare. and I'm the guild president at LDC. My Lord, the chief worker for today, and indeed our chief guest for today, and all our other guests, permit me extend our gratitude for having accepted to be part of this day and having accepted to speak to us, give us those words of wisdom, which indeed we take so seriously as aspiring young lawyers. So you can join me and we give her a very big round of applause. We thank you very much, and we hope that anytime we want to approach you, the code could be a COE student, because surely we'll be knocking at your doors for further guidance, further interaction, such that we can be as good as you are, or maybe better. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, our guild president. My Lord, the guest of honor, him and many more other people who help in the trenches of legal aid service provision. I'll request the police band to lead the anthems in reverse order, and thereafter we shall have our guest of honor move to the main building, to the office of the director, to sign the guest book, accompanied by Her Lordship, the chairperson of the Legal Aid Clinic Advisory Board, the PRO of the judiciary, who is representing the chief registrar, together with the representative of the director, the CEOs, and then the rest of our team will start off the legal aid service provision. Thank you so much. Police band, please.